Hey everybody, I'm here for another adoption option video. This one is about starting the conversation and how to bring it up to your partner if you are interested but your partner has never expressed an interest. I write a blog as well. I have not been good about it. I've been terrible lately about keeping I have been terrible lately about keeping up my blog. I've just not really been into it. Starting the conversation is something that I think a lot of people find very difficult because it usually is something that one person thinks about first and you aren't sure where the other person stands on it necessarily, or whether that's what parenting looks like for your partner. Because there are a lot of people who parenting is all about seeing the person that looks like them, and that's totally fine. But when you're having infertility issues, or if it's something you feel strongly about, it can be something that's hard to bring the conversation. Conversation and starting really serious conversations has never been my strong suit because I'm the baby of the family. Nobody ever took me seriously, and I had all these ideas and notions that people just kind of shot down because they figured I was the baby of the family and I was just being crazy. So it's something that I've had to work on, and it's definitely been a lot easier with Jeremy and as I've gotten older. So the first thing, up early. I personally have always wanted to adopt and or foster. So I knew this was something that was important to me before we got married. So I brought it up before we even got married, before we were engaged. I said that, I don't know if this is something you're interested in, but I really want to adopt and or foster, and I would like you to think about whether that's something you would do. The first time I spoke with him about it, I kind of figured we might have issues, and it was probably too early for most couples, but we always talked about stuff a little bit more early than most couples. We talked about exes on the first date, so it just worked for us, and that's when I brought it up. Bring it up where you're most comfortable talking to your significant other. So if you're most comfortable, cooking in the kitchen and doing that kind of thing and talking, then bring it up there. If you're more comfortable talking while you're laying in bed before you go to sleep, bring it up there. But being comfortable yourself while bringing up a heavy topic like adoption is really important. If you're uncomfortable, it's going to make them uncomfortable. It's a kind of an uncomfortable topic when you're just bringing it up and not knowing where the other person stands on it. So making sure you're at least comfortable is something that I thought was really important. Bring up one question at a time. So just start planting the seed and say, I was thinking about adoption. I was thinking maybe that would be something that would be cool, and maybe it would be something that would work for us in terms of parenting. Maybe that's something you can think about, and then just leave it. Don't try and get all your answers out of the way at once, because the more overwhelmed somebody gets, the harder it's going to be and the more closed-minded they're going to be to it. Then you bring up, say, ages. Okay, would we want just a baby, or maybe would we want another older kid? And then once you talk about that a little bit, just let it go. And then move on. Then start with the tougher questions. Race. Race is a tough question. I mean, ethnicities and races varying in families can bring up a lot of issues. It's a hot button topic right now. It is something that a lot of people are not okay with, and it's totally understandable. It's a tough thing to deal with being out in public, mom and dad being white, baby being Korean or African American or Hispanic, what have you, and somebody saying, oh, so he's not your real kid. Well, yeah, he is my real kid. Of course he's my real kid. So, it's a lot of those kinds of things are really tough, and bringing them up is very important before you even get into it. And then once you start taking classes or really getting into the process of adoption, really fine-tuning those hard topics, race, abilities, mental, social issues, talk about timing. When you have a general idea, it's it'll give you a good basis of knowledge, and then you can open up the discussion further so that you can know what adoption may look like. And I also said to bring it up somewhat often and just drop it in conversations, and you know, the more comfortable with it, the more normal it is, the better. Even for people who are interested in it, it's not something you normally talk about and just use in everyday conversation because it's been such a taboo topic over the years. So much like having a child with special needs or finding a friend or loved one has a different sexual orientation than you, the more you talk about it, the more comfortable you are with it, the better. And learning about it will help you to normalize it. We'll have thousands of questions. A lot of them are just natural curiosity. A lot of them are ignorance. But a lot of the times it can be offensive and hurtful. So having kind, intelligent things to say that you have thought about and talked about with your significant other before those things come up is a really good thing to have on your side. And maybe even have a snarky comment or two up your sleeve when somebody's just being really rude. The fifth and last thing I said on my blog, just because I wanted to keep it kind of short, is let it drop. So the conversation will get tough. It'll get hard, it'll get uncomfortable, it'll get frustrating at times because somebody's not seeing something the same way you might see it. At that point, just let it drop and talk about it later when the environment is more comfortable. That's going back to when and where you are most comfortable. So having a heated debate on what adoption is going to look like for your family is really not going to get you anywhere except for frustration. None of the options on the table are going to leave or need to be answered right then and there. So if it's getting tough, you can talk about it a little bit better and easier later on. It isn't worth the fight just to talk about something. Changing the subject, my personal favorite is go and have sex and get in a better mood. So just doing things that when those things start to get frustrated, bring yourselves back together so that you are renewed as a unit and you don't go away with a sour taste in your mouth talking about adoption, because then the next time you go to bring up adoption, it's not going to be something that person is going to want to talk about, because the last time you did, it was something that ended in a battle. Those are kind of the 5 things that have really helped me out in terms of bringing up the topic, and it made it a whole lot easier. Our first conversation about adoption was really, I think, 3 minutes. And it ended in me saying, well, that's just something I've always wanted to do, so I think you should think about it. And he said, okay, and then we kept cooking. And over the next few months and couple of years, we really fine-tuned when and where and what adoption kind of looks like for us. And then as we started moving forward with the process, we really started answering some of those tough questions. And there are a ton of tough questions to consider. So I hope that helped any of you, and I hope that was interesting for any of you. So I will talk to you all later. Bye.